Hello, hello, and welcome to, finally, a copper thing. That's right, we're going to be making copper today, and I am super excited about it. Well, we're going to be making a collection of copper tools, at least a pickaxe and a hammer. Oh, I didn't realize this. Our prospecting pick mold was still raw. So we should sort that out. Do I have grass anywhere? I don't think I do. Let's sort that out. So we need 10 grass, 10 sticks, because we're definitely going to want to make a prospecting pick. We won't need the mold immediately, but I'd like to have it firing so that when we do, it's ready to go. And that's more than enough grass. I wonder if I can make that. Oh, I can. That's fun. I'd like to make some more ingots too, so tonight, once it gets dark, I think that's what we'll do. It's currently 13:20, so it's pretty early. One stick left, sure. We're gonna have to get some wood too. I'd like to start another batch of charcoal up as well, just so we have that. But before we go any further, I have a little bit of housekeeping. The larch trees that ring our little... Oh no, this qualifies as a valley. I think valleys need to have a river running through them. But this little depression that we've decided to call home is ringed by larch trees, and these are deciduous conifers. I went ahead and read that Wikipedia article, and my brain said that conifers was the only word there that mattered, and forgot that they're deciduous, but that means that they will change color in the fall, and that's going to be really cool to see. I've been planting a bunch of them around. They should start growing in a couple of days, I think. 9 days, 7, 9. There's an oak right there. That's our oak tree, and that has 4 days on it, if I remember right. Yep, 4 days. And we're going to harvest that immediately for its tannins, but we'll get to that later. Right now, what I want to do is... Oh. I thought I had an axe. Is make an axe. And we're going to fell some trees to fill this up with charcoal. Well, firewood to be turned into charcoal. I'm actually going to make 2 axes. I have heard your complaints about my method for sealing this up. You really want me to put stairs here and store stuff under them, and that feels really cheaty, so I'm not doing it. Terribly sorry, everyone that's been asking for me to do very exploity things, but that's not how I play. How much clay do we have? Oh, we have plenty of clay. Okay, I don't need to bother with getting any of that then. That's good. Do you see what I see? Our home is right over there. That's the roof of our little charcoal thing. There's our trader. And then right here, that's copper. Wait, is that? Holy crap, what? Wait. Whoa. How big is this one? Oh, we don't need a pro pick at all. Not for a while anyway. That's... this world keeps giving us copper. Alright, I'm gonna mark these really quick, and since they're right next to home, I'm not gonna bother picking them up. Also, we have enough copper at the moment, but these are the first 2 nodes that we're gonna hit up as soon as we have a pickaxe and can go mining. But the reason I want to start another load of charcoal is that, well, we're going to need charcoal pretty much constantly. But I'd also really like to sell the charcoal that we have. Not all of it. I think we can only sell maybe 24, and that'll be more than enough to make copper. Ooh, a free dead hair, don't mind if I do. Let's get to cutting down some trees, and we need sticks too, so I'm gonna go about this the long way. Soon we'll be able to make shears, and sticks will be much less of a problem for us. Ooh, tin ore. That's incredible. You just have tin right next to home? Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I'm honestly not sure I've ever seen tin in a world just lying on the ground. That's incredible. Oh, that is hard to see too. It's just like little brown bits. But speaking of, especially with us having copper right next door, last time I mentioned that a possible name could be based on having the apple and pear fruits all around our base. And some interesting names came out of that. Specifically, a few of you mentioned that both apples and pears belong to this family, which I think is pronounced Rosaceae? Rosaceae? I'm not sure, but I have heard Rosa used to refer to apples as an example. So that could be an interesting option. We also have all of this copper everywhere, not to mention up in the Northlands, as it were, at least in relation to our current range. And a name that I had early on, especially during that first episode, that we could use was Coppersburg. I've grown kind of attached to that one, but I really like the nerdiness of calling this little area Rosa something. Perhaps Rosa Bay. I think this might qualify as a bay anyway. And it is getting later than I would have liked. I really wanted to make it to the trader up in the north, but I think even if I ran over there now, that would be a couple hours. The sun is pretty low. I don't think I'm gonna risk it. Instead, I'm just gonna keep cutting down some more trees. If my math is right, I need 4 stacks to get 8 stacks of firewood and fill our charcoal pit. Technically a little more because we need some extra firewood to make the fire pit on top to start it, but yeah, feel free to sound off in the comments if perhaps Rosa or like Rosa Bay or maybe Coppersburg. I enjoy that both of them are kind of nerdy. Rosa Bay, of course, mentioning the scientific family for both apples and pears. And Coppersburg actually also has a bit of nerdiness behind it because a burg is specifically a walled or fortified settlement, and we will definitely be building a bit more of a substantial wall around our settlement as it grows. In fact, I'd like to replace this fencing with, well, a more substantial wall. Shivers have been climbing over it entirely too often, and I would like that to stop, personally. And there we go. It's definitely getting dark, so let's head back. I'm gonna do some clay forming in the night. And hopefully not get jumped by a shiver again. Oh, I should reset the torches too. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity to get caught up on a few things that I've been meaning to do and just haven't, and I don't know why. So I'm going to take one of our extra logs and our knife and turn it into a wooden pan. You jerk. Let's knock out our bony soil really quick. So with a wooden pan, we can stand in water, and you have to be standing in water. So, okay, you can pick up a slice. Shoop. Well, not standing in water, but in order to actually pan, you have to be standing in water. You can look at anything that isn't an interactable block. So, the ground works. You just right-click. My inventory is completely full. I'm going to be dropping all of these things. Let me attend to that first. The ADHD is striking again. Well, that's all full. I'm going to grab our dirt. and seal the bottom up. Now up to the top. I need a piece of our grass. Oh, we're gonna have stairs soon, and it's gonna be lovely. Here we are. The pit is lit. Alright, how many? Oh, I have 5 pit kilns free. Let's see about using some of them. So having a bunch of ingot molds is useful because the ingot is essentially the standard unit of measurement for metals, at least in terms of being workable. The tool molds take 100 units, as do the ingot molds, so effectively 100 units of copper equals 1 ingot, and ingots can be turned into tools basically at a rate of 1-to-1. There's a couple things that don't. That's plates take 2. I believe there's a couple other things that take 2 ingots as well, but we'll sort that out. And I don't think I'm going to do any more clay forming. 6 ingot molds is probably enough, at least for the time being. How much copper do we have again? That's right. We have a lot of copper. We have a lot of copper. But we need 180 to make the anvil, which that is my goal for the day. And I think even with just these 2, we can probably get 180. These are pretty big deposits. It looks like, at least, based on what's on the surface. Well, since we have a bit of space in our inventory, let's finish this panning. And panning, I've found, drains your hunger like crazy. I don't know why. Oh, this is bony soil, which if you weren't here for when we collected this, it's been a while, totally fair. Bony soil comes from ruins, and it drops a lot of bones when you pan it, but you can get some other goodies too. Like we just got this piece of flax, and here's a piece of silver. That's awful nice. Oh, the block above needs to have air in it, and this torch is not air. I wouldn't say it's taking up the whole block either, but Vintage Story is being picky. We can get copper goodies out of this. I think you can get gears out of it as well. Rusty gears anyway. I don't know about temporal gears. Well, since Vintage Story wants to be picky about this one, I gotta move it. There we go. Back to work. You can pan not just bony soil, but also all sand and gravel types, and the non-bony soil pannable blocks will contain a lot of copper stuff. I could have sworn bony soil also contained copper, but man, we are not lucky with these 3 blocks of it. Yeah, no luck for us. Really just a piece of silver. And just 1. Which is usable. That is a usable quantity of silver. So I'm not totally looking a gift horse in the mouth, but I do wish it was a little bit more. I was just out cutting grass for those 2 pit kilns that we have to fire, and I noticed this cow parsley here, which reminded me the tea mod that we used at the end of last episode. I did some digging and I found temperature ranges for... Oop, and we're starving. This is almost done, so I'll just honk for a bit, it's okay. But I found temperature ranges for all of the teas that we can make with all the different flowers, and a couple of you smartly pointed out that Lily of the Valley is a deeply poisonous plant. Don't make tea out of Lily of the Valley. Please. Don't do that. I did it because I was kind of hoping it would be poisonous, and I thought that would be a funny way to end the episode. Ooh, our food is done. Good. Ah, perfect. I'm gonna fill this bowl, grab a crock, fill it up, and seal it. The piece of fat because we don't have beeswax. Now put it into our makeshift cellar, which will be getting an upgrade soon enough. But part of the reason why I thought Lily of the Valley tea was going to be poisonous is I did some testing before adding that mod to this playthrough, to this world. And for that testing, I grabbed the closest flower. And the closest flower in that world was cow parsley, which it turns out is the only flower that makes a poisonous tea in that mod. All of the others do, at their very worst, nothing at all. Most of them give a little bit of satiation and one of the various nutrients, and a couple have other features. I believe there's 2 or 3 that can heal. Oh, that's a wolf. Okay. I forget which one is really good for healing, but I know one of the flowers heals actually quite a bit when turned into a tea. So that's neat. I may endeavor to have some of those just on hand. Ooh, mushrooms. Do I have these tagged? I do. Let's grab these. They'll keep for a good long while in our makeshift cellar, so no real harm in harvesting them now. And hopefully that makes them grow back faster. I'll be honest, I don't know what the respawn timer is on mushrooms, but they do regrow in roughly the same area, not the exact same locations, which is more or less analogous to how mushrooms work in the real world. I have a bunch of larch seeds. I'm gonna throw them up here. I'm not really picky where. I just want to fill this space out a little bit after I kind of butchered it. Well, that's our trader. And I think I know the quickest way to get there. Oh, I forgot how many goats there are up here. I don't know what this one's doing. Kind of weirding me out. Hey, Sprig. Are you still buying charcoal? Yes. I was right, you're buying 12. Oh, your demand is 4. You can buy 48? Alright, how long do we have on the charcoal pit? We have several hours. I think that was that around like 1900? So we have like another 10 hours to wait on that. That's a little bit unfortunate. Well, I'm gonna sell 30. Oh, it's only 1 gear. Oh, but I'd be able to buy a linen sack. Given how precious flax is going to be to us, especially in the first year, that might actually be worth it. Okay, so I'm going to sell 36 charcoal, which only leaves us with 1. That is not enough to get us into copper, but that gives us... Oh, we have 6 gears. I could buy 3 of these. That would give us an entire row more storage. I mean, that sounds really good. Yeah, I think I like that trade. And we'll be back with more copper. Or, sorry, we'll be back with more charcoal. Yeah, I think that is a worthwhile trade. Nice. Let's get home so that we can deal with these. Because inventory is interesting how it works, and I'd like to explain it from a safe place. When we're not being jovially honked at by a trader. Oh. Fell into a hole. While we're swimming back home, I also watch vintage story stuff on YouTube, quite a bit of it, and an interesting development that I've seen is a speedrun is beginning to take shape for vintage story. I am not a well, I've speedrun a couple games pretty casually, but I wouldn't really call myself a speedrunner per se, but I do really enjoy watching speedrun scenes as they develop. And there's currently 2 runners that I'm aware of. The first runner, the first person to post a run was Artnat, who does a lot of creative building kind of videos. And just a couple days ago, they posted a run that was, I think it was an hour 20 minutes, if I remember right, to get a copper anvil. That was the stated end goal. And just a few days ago, Mr. Mutant posted a run of their own. And it does the same thing in only... Oh, that's a wolf. The arc on spears is really weird. There's that second one. Nice. Anyway, the speedrun. 40 minutes to get a copper anvil. That's very impressive. Hey there, Editor Tech. So I misremembered the time. Mr. Mutant achieved an anvil in 49 minutes and 52 seconds. Not 40 minutes, but still very impressive. I said that I'm not an active runner myself, but I've been involved in a lot of early speedrunning communities, and I really want to discuss the development of a run for Vintage Story. Let me know if you'd be interested in a video talking about that. Alright, back to it. My usual time, obviously I'm not speedrunning, so it's a little bit weird to compare, but my usual time to get a copper anvil is about 12 hours in a world. And we are roughly in line with that, if I remember correctly. Someone can do the math, by which I mostly mean me in editing. Which reminds me, I'm about to have more hours played in Vintage Story than the Master Chief Collection, which I've been playing Halo since I was 11, so that's something. Obviously, I've been playing the Master Chief Collection since 11. I mean, Halo 1, or Halo CE as the PC crowd calls it. Alright, so I just cleared out our inventory. We only have these linen sacks, and it is now time to replace our junky little hand baskets with these linen sacks. So you might think the obvious thing to do is grab our sack, plunk it right in, and where do the other ones go? Well, in an interesting quirk, hand baskets actually contain their slots in order. So this first hand basket, having 3 slots, contains the first 3 slots of the inventory, the second has the next 3, and so on. So what we actually want to do is replace them from the end. So now this linen sack is adding these 5. If I replace this linen sack, now it's these 5 and these 5. Do it again. These 3 hand baskets are now in this hand basket. All of the rest of these slots are from the linen sacks. And we can turn these hand baskets back into cattails because there's nothing else we can do with them. So we have a lot more inventory space now. Our copper is waiting until our charcoal pit is done. Then we'll be able to do copper. So since we're waiting, I'm going to check this trader's inventory. Sometimes he buys peat, and apparently he can also buy charcoal, which would be pretty convenient. Hello, Adachi. What are you buying and selling at the moment? You will buy peat. Again, 2, so that's 25. Let's go make some gears. A light temporal storm is approaching. That's our first one. And thanks to our simple HUD clock mod, we have a timer in the upper left for when that will be arriving. We have a couple minutes to prepare, and that is real world minutes, thankfully. I think our charcoal might be done by then. I'm just trying to line things up in my head. We have Yeah, change of plans. We have some new things to be doing. Alright, I'll close you up. Good luck in the storm. Oh, it looks like our charcoal pit is done. And it is. That's very good news. Let's clear this pit out then. You know, it looks like a decent haul. Let's go. Here we are, we're back up to 39 charcoal. I'm going to earmark 12 of that for the trader again. So we have 27 charcoal to work with, and that is more than enough to get our copper underway. Though I am hesitant to get that started while the temporal storm is approaching. So temporal storms are... how to describe them? If you remember Left 4 Dead and its developer commentary, which wasn't that cool when Valve did that for the Orange Box? I really liked listening to those developer commentaries. I wanted that to become a more standard thing than it did, but alas. But if you remember the Left 4 Dead developer commentaries, you may recall they used the term crescendo events for the periods within the campaigns where you'd have to trigger an alarm or some kind of thing that made a loud noise that a ton of zombies flooded into the area. And it was big and exciting, and they called it a crescendo event. Pretty decent name. Temporal storms are basically that concept for Vintage Story. They are Vintage Story's crescendo events, other than the lore dungeons, or the story dungeons, whatever you want to call them. But we are really much too early game to be engaging with temporal storms, so we're mostly going to hide through it. Speaking of which, I need to make a door. How do I make a crude door again? 2 logs, some sticks. Do I have logs that are not oak? No. Cool. I'm gonna go get some logs. Is this gonna break? 16 durability? Yeah, probably. Oh, I really don't have time for this. I guess these are the closest trees. Oh, I still have 5 minutes, though it is getting dark. That's maybe the more pressing issue at the moment. More immediately pressing issue anyway. The temporal storm is definitely pressing. Four minutes. We've got plenty of time. I still want to be relatively efficient about this, but not too bad. So I have enabled the option that allows us to sleep through temporal storms. And we don't want anything spawning on top of us, so we're going to be using this little room above our charcoal pit as our wonderfully defensible cell, essentially. Leave that open. But we will be outside when the temporal storm starts, because it is something of a visual spectacle. If you haven't seen it before, I think it's worth showing off. Plus, I think I would like to try engaging with it a little bit, but we'll probably run away pretty quickly. Horsetail poultices, that's linen with reeds. Oh, it takes 4 and I only have 2 horsetail. I think there's horsetail in here, but we only have 3 minutes left. Usually I mark the big horsetail clusters, and I don't know why I haven't been. Also, we should really explore to the south sometime. There's a huge forest here. I mean, look at all this like alpine forest. Good vibes. It's really interesting how few trees there actually are to the north of where we've settled. This whole section here has very few trees, but we didn't settle very far from this forest, so we really should go adventuring sooner rather than later. Still have this marked, which I believe is a trader. Traders are pretty regularly distributed, so there should be one somewhere over here. Oh, that's a trader. I will mark that with a red X to go exploring later. Yes, this is what I'm doing while waiting for the temporal storm to hit. Here's another one. I'm really surprised I'm not seeing a trader somewhere on this peninsula. There must be one buried in the forest somewhere. Well, we have 30 seconds until the temporal storm. I'm gonna get on top of something so we can watch it come in. That is Dave. Dave is, a friend? But the rest of what happens during a temporal storm is not quite as friendly. That's a lot of shivers. Oh, that one is killing itself on our pit kilns. Okay with that. This warping is also intentional, and it can trigger motion sickness in people, so if you start to get that, yeah, don't feel bad. I'll put a timestamp on the screen for when it ends. But I want to try getting a kill or two while this is happening, because higher level enemies spawn during this than otherwise do. At least on the surface. Deep split shiver. Haldor, welcome. Hello again. Oh, let me close that. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think I can make that run. Not during a temporal storm. But thanks to Player Corpse, everything will still be there. What does it look out here? That's a lot. Okay, so lesson learned. Flint spears are not good enough for your first temporal storm. And I'm just gonna sleep through this now. Thank you for letting us crash here, Haldor. Let's get home. That's frustrating. I was really hoping to get at least one kill. Oh, that's a crop. I'm not sure how I missed this when I came through here previously. Oh, and it's flax too. Well, I'm just gonna collect a few things while we're here. And when we get back home, then we'll be doing copper. And it's about time too. Clearly, I should have done that about a day earlier. Is that? More copper. Oh wow, this is a good chunk of it too. This world is crazy. Love it though. Already found copper, tin, borax, chalk. Yeah, this is a good world. Alright, and now we are back, more or less to where we were. But now that we have about a month, give or take, before the next temporal storm, we have plenty of time to do copper. And how much do I want to make? So we have 80, that's 4 ingots worth. Let's actually do these 3 and an ingot. Yeah, I think that would work. So let's take our crucible, because we're about to do some smelting. Take our crucible, throw it on the fire pit, Now we have 4 slots, much like cooking. But for this, we're just going to take our copper nuggets instead of food, throw them in here. I like to spread them out. I guess technically you don't need to. Grab some firewood and start it up. So this is how we begin. And I already know what you're typing, experienced players. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. Firewood has a burn temperature of 700 degrees Celsius, and copper has a smelting temperature of 1084 degrees Celsius. You may note that's a little bit higher than 700. And that is where charcoal comes in, because charcoal burns at a temperature of 1300 degrees Celsius, which is higher than the required temperature for copper. So once we bring this up to 700, and we're doing that in the interest of kind of preheating the crucible before we start dumping our much more valuable charcoal into it. But once it hits about 700, or basically once this firewood is gone, we'll drop in a couple pieces of charcoal. I think I might be able to get away with 3, but I'll try 2 at first. And actually, I'm going to do that right now, because that is close enough. But you'll note that these are starting to glow a little bit, because they're getting hot. They're getting real toasty now. And speaking of, there's a thing I'm forgetting. Hold on. I need vines. Where are my vines? There they are. So I need to make a rope and sticks. Need a couple more. Drag sticks in a row to get wooden tongs, which is honestly kind of one of my favorite tools. They look so crazy. And I'm going to make another tool rack real quick. I'll put it on this side of the door because that's where our tongs will go. Let's check in our crucible. Oh, they're looking real toasty now. And yeah, I'm gonna need at least 1 more, possibly 2.
1 minute later.
All right, it's about to be done. So we're gonna take our wooden tongs and put them in our offhand. Get ready to grab our crucible. There it is. Contains molten copper, and it'll stay warm for a little while, but you want to work fairly quick when you have this. So let's go over to our molds here. So I want to make all 3 of these and 1 ingot. There's 400 units, and each of those takes 100. So just pour our copper out into the molds. And there we are. And look at that. They look so crazy. There's something about them that I really like. And here's our copper tools. They're still liquid, so we can't use them right now. And they're extremely hot, even if they weren't liquid. Let's make a meal though. With the first 2 slots as a vegetable, it has to be either a vegetable in the next 2 or soybeans. But we have a bunch of mushrooms, so let's do that. Why not? That is 6 servings of hefty red wine cap puffball stew with field mushroom garnish. And actually, I'm going to change that to only 4 so that we can seal up a crock with it. It's already warm, so the log's lit right away, and that is already cooking. Let's go check on our copper. Soft copper, so it is cooling, but still too hot to be usable. I have nowhere to put anything. And the way that we use a crock, since we have, well, actually, I'm going to show another way to use a crock. With the crock in our inventory, and I think it works on the hotbar too, but just for clarity, if we take a bowl, we can click on the fired crock. It is no longer sealed. We have broken the seal, so it's no longer sterile, and it will start to spoil faster, but that's kind of the point. We're trying to get through this one before it does spoil. But you can left click on a crock with a bowl held in your mouse to fill it. So you no longer have to drop the crock on the ground and get the bowl out and do the whole song and dance. That is a change added with 1.20. that we're playing on. Oh, that's done. Let's grab a fresh crock, fill it up, find a piece of fat. I'd really like to get an apiary going, but not really in the cards just yet, because we haven't found bees. We need to find bees pretty bad. And that is why we need to go digging around in this forest, because there are probably bees in at least one of these trees. How's our copper looking? Oh, that looks like copper. Soft copper, so it's still too hot to pop out, but it's getting there. Slowly but surely. Oh, hardened copper. So we can now pop these out, all of our tool heads and our ingot, which I'll deal with the ingot first, by which I mean... Oh no. What do I mean? Here. So we can just ground storage our ingot, and it's actually still cooling. But for our other 3 tool heads, we can make copper hammer, copper pickaxe, and a copper prospecting pick. Which the prospecting pick will be something we'll go into. But the pickaxe and the hammer we'll be putting to use almost right away. Let me hang the hammer up, because we won't be needing that out in the wild, so to speak. And the pro pick I want on hand for reasons. Oh, I'm so antsy. I want to get out there. You know what? Let's just sleep. We'll wake up pretty early. Have some light. Go harvest some copper. And there we are. We only slept for like 4 hours, but that's good enough. Because I am wired. Copper is so exciting. It really is, though. We're going to unlock access to so much. Alright, where was this first one? There it is. The very first thing I'm going to do, look around for some other pieces. A little bit lower on the slope, and it doesn't look like there are any. There's that cluster over there, but let's tackle this one first. It's like 9 pieces on the surface. That gave us 18 nuggets. That's not bad. That is too shy of an ingot. Now, let's make a shovel, because I forgot to bring one, and I think the one back at home is low anyway. And not sure if you can see it under the dirt, but that's our copper. Since I don't have ladders made, and I actually don't have enough sticks on me to make them. There's more at home, but I'm lazy. I'm just going to make some stairs. And now, let's dig down. And you can actually dig down. You can dig straight down in Vintage Story. That is something that is a bit different between this and the other block game. Lava is not particularly common, and caves tend not to be so tall that you'll take fall damage if you dig into them, so you can actually dig straight down with relatively reckless abandon. But I'm going to press G to sit down and just start mining away. Oh, this is rich too. Oh, that's so good. Sorry, I'm very excited. It's nice that this is directly under the dirt, because something that ore veins do is they tend to follow the slope of the ground above them. So it is a decent chance that there's more copper kind of diagonally down beneath these dirt blocks. And having the dirt blocks there as a reference makes it a lot easier to try and follow that. And look at that. It's right there. Right on cue. Now I could crawl around with my verticality mod, but I feel like doing this one kind of legit. Oh, this is a sizable vein. How much is this giving us? 25 units. So 4 of these is a whole ingot? Wow, okay. Okay, now it is time for our pro pick to shine. There are two modes to the Pro Pick. If I press F, I'm able to select between them. Density search is the default mode, and this allows us to check kind of the entire chunk all in one fell swoop to see what the chances are that an ore is present in that chunk. It is not the percentage of the chunk which is that ore. That's a common misconception. But we're not going to be using this right now. We will get to it later. I actually want to use node search, because what node search does is it tells you if an ore, any ore, it doesn't specify which, but it tells you if any ore is within its range. And we have that range set to 8 blocks in any direction, which is definitely bigger than anything around us. So if we break this block, it'll tell us basically if we missed any copper. So let's go ahead and do that. It's a little bit slower than the normal pick. No ore node nearby. So we've gone ahead and scraped out as much copper as we're going to get out of this spot. So let's climb our way out. Delete this marker. I'll just leave the hole. I'm sure that'll trip me up later and it'll be worth a laugh. And move on to the next one, which is here. Ooh. Some copper hidden underneath. It looks like that was it. So let's get to digging. Oh, I have a shovel for that. Right. And so there's rock. Now, copper that you find on the surface is not necessarily guaranteed to be in the first block you uncover when you go digging straight down, but it should be nearby. I'm just going to do a bit more digging to uncover some of this top layer here. And just to make sure we're not totally barking up the wrong tree, let's do a node search right here, and it should light up when it comes back. Native copper, medium amounts. Is it by chance? Right there. Oh, and it's rich again. Oh yeah, let's go. Look at that. All right, cool. Well, let's get to work. Every 4 of these is a whole ingot. We are about to be absolutely drowning in copper. Rich crystallized chunk. It just has half an ingot in it. That's good stuff. Alright, let's take another Pro Pick reading. Trace amounts. So there's probably one more block of it somewhere. I bet it's above one of these. No. Well, I don't want to use up too much of my pickaxe here. There's some. I'm kind of thinking that might be it. I'll do my due diligence and give it one more Pro Pick scan. Still trace amounts. How much do I care is the question. I guess enough to find it. All right, I'm calling it there. If there is more down that hole, that's very cool. I'm moving on. Maybe I'll dig around in there if I need more basalt stones, which we might want. 58, hold on, how much is that? So 58 divided by 4, 14, or 14 and a half ingots already. Plus this, so 15, that's 15 and a quarter. So we have like 15 and 3/4 of an ingot. Oh, plus this, which I don't know that I want to break this. I might want to store it on a shelf. Just have it on display, because the crystallized chunks are pretty rare. And I don't know, I just think they're neat. I think it would be kind of cool to keep our first one on display somewhere, you know? Here it is. Boop, boop, boop. Digging time. I'm guessing this is another instance where it'll be beneath this first layer. So let's break through. And there it is. This is only medium quality, so it won't be quite as impressive, I guess. Is a decent word for it. This might end up being a pretty big vein, which would make up for it being only medium quality. So we'll probably be hitting up some poor quality deposits in relatively short order. Looking a gift horse in the mouth. Oh. Oh. Why is there a Botarn here? Where did you come from? Oh, I bet it's from this cave up here. I don't think we've checked this cave out yet. I see two more in there. Ooh, another temporal gear. A little bit more flax, I'll take it. Take this flint too. I'm gonna really quickly see if there's any exposed ore down here. No, I know, I'm sprinting. There's a meal at home. We'll be fine. Okay, nothing. Down this branch. Oh, that's a little larger than I was prepared for. I'm not really seeing anything. Not yet, anyway. This is... Caving is for later. Ow, jerk. Alright, let's get out of there. That is so many enemies spawning in there. Okay, so we have 46 medium, and wait, is each one of these? Oh no, it takes 5 of these. So 4, 8, 9. There's already 9 ingots in this? Wow. All right, let's get our hammer. And actually, I'm not gonna have room for the explosion of copper that this is gonna be. I need to make a reed chest, which I will put, sure, here for the time being. And this is going to be our new valuables container, I think, at least for the moment. So put our silver in there, our existing nuggets, grab our hammer, the rich chunks, oh, the medium, oh, there's so much. And then our rich crystallized chunk, which, look, if I'm being real with you, we don't need. So let's hang our hammer back up. We'll be needing that for later, but not for a minute. And before we lose all of our light, we still have a couple hours of daylight left. I'm gonna go hit up that tin deposit because I think we might be able to jump straight to a bronze anvil, and that would be pretty incredible. I would be rather enthused by that development, shall we say. I've never skipped an anvil, but that would be pretty great. All right, so pick those up and let's start digging. Is that already it? It is! Look at that. Right on the surface. so to speak. All right, let's dig in. This is only poor quality, but we need, let's actually look that up. So to make tin bronze, we need 8 to 12% tin and 88 to 92% copper. So we really do not need that much. If we make an ingot, that would be two chunks of tin to, 2 nuggets of tin to 18 nuggets of copper. So we really do not need very much in order to jump forward into tin bronze. All right, that's a very small deposit if that's truly all there is. Kind of don't buy it, but let's find out. No ore node nearby. Okay, so we have these and a couple just straight up nuggets from the chunks that were on the surface. Okay, let's go home, bash these open, grab our hammer, bash it open. 13. So we have 13 nuggets, and that's, I mean, we can stretch it, is the thing. I need the calculator. We are 2 bits of tin shy. That is such a small amount. Okay, hold on. What traders do we have access to? So we have an artisan, building materials, and survival goods. I don't think the artisan is going to have... Oh, one of our trees just grew. A pine. Nice. I don't think an artisan is going to be selling tin. No, he is not. That's okay. Oh, we did want to go back to that trader anyway. Let's have a meal and then... Yeah, we're going to be a night walker. Because if we can get a tin bronze anvil, seriously, that's so good. Oh man, a mushroom meal does not actually fill you up that much. Okay. You know what makes a lot more sense? Heading out in the morning. Let's do that instead. We lost basically all of our satiation overnight. Cool, I do love that. All right, let's head off. I'm gonna head up to this trader first, sell our charcoal to them, see if they have any tin. I'm not expecting them to, but I guess there's maybe a chance. I don't remember what the tables are for the things that the different traders can sell. Oh hey, I remembered right. Horsetail. But I'm not gonna get it right now because I know where it is. Hello again, Sprig. I have some charcoal to sell you. Now we have 3 gears, and what are you oh, we could replace our final hand basket, and you know what? That sounds awesome. Honestly, that sounds even better than tin. She was not selling, and honestly, I don't think any of the traders are going to be. But let's go hit up the last trader. And while we're here, let's snag ourselves a goat. Why are you moving so weirdly? Okay, 4 on the goats. Got it. That gave us 8. Very nice. Ooh, that's an oak. And I don't have one of our axes. Guess we're making one. Ooh, and that's a forget-me-not. Forget-me-nots are the healing plant from the T-mod. I mean, they aren't from the T-mod, they're vanilla. But in the T-mod, they can be used to brew a tea that restores health. which definitely not usable in combat per se, but seems handy to have. Do you know what? I've mentioned tea enough times. I think we're gonna go make some. Alright, I just sat down with my mug. It's a touch too hot at the moment for my liking anyway. I did basically just pour it, so that is to be expected. But it is Tazo Wild Sweet Orange, and yes, that is a tea bag. I'm very basic, but it's nice and bright, and it's a good tea. Oh, we did get a seed out of that one. That's probably because of the mod that I have that guarantees a seed from every tree. But still, very good news, because, well, we need oak. We need oak trees really badly. Ooh, there's more forget-me-nots. Can I yoink those for some in-game tea? Alright, Halder, I am back once again. What do you have to trade? This looks like all new stuff. I mean, it's cool stuff, but unfortunately not what I'm looking for at the moment. But thank you, Halder. So that is all of the traders that we have marked. It's still 11 in the morning, though. That's quite a ways off. You know what? I could swing down to here. So let's pin that. So I could, like, swing down here and then come into home. And it would probably be kind of mid-afternoon by that time. Unless I get horribly distracted. That might be a ruin. I might get horribly distracted. There's a fruit tree there. Yeah, I'm probably going to get horribly distracted. Okay, let's go. That sounds exciting. What? There's a maple log embedded in this clay. Well, that's weird. Okay. There are some mature crops up there on this cliffside, and I kind of feel like scaling it to get them. Ooh, false earth stars. So false earth stars are a poisonous mushroom added by the mycology mod that I have, and something that I learned. I have another world where I'm doing a bunch of testing stuff for this series, and I discovered that the alchemy mod uses poisonous mushrooms and horsetail to make the potion base, but the poisonous mushrooms from the mycology mod are not viable, which I'm of kind of mixed opinions on that. I don't know if I really, really like that or kind of dislike it. It's kind of neat how it's not just any poisonous mushroom will do. No, there's a subset of poisonous mushrooms that I need to keep an eye out for. And that's kind of neat. It's an unintended interaction between those two mods. It would probably be pretty simple to make a patch that would allow the poisonous mushrooms from mycology to be used for making potions in alchemy. And I might look into how to do that, because I don't think that would be a code mod. That would probably be just adding some tags to things in JSON files. So it wouldn't even be that difficult. I'm assuming. I haven't looked into it. I'm just assuming that that's how it would work. But I'm willing to play without it and just see how it feels. There's a lot of things in this game, really, that I want to do because I haven't done them yet. And I'm curious how it feels to interact with them. That's things like distilling alcohol, for example. I've never done it. I know how it works. I know how you do it, more or less. But I don't know how it feels to actually interact with that system. I know the yield is very low compared to the input resources, but how bad does that feel? Does it feel worth it still? And look at that. That is a cool little valley. Oh, that's this, like shooting down along this river. That is neat. that's where we're going. That's a weird spot for a piece of driftwood. And is that the trader right there? Yes, it is. Oh, this valley is darn cute. Alright, so what do we got down there? It's like a lot of maple and pine. There is a small ruin right there. Looks like there's another one over there. Alright, we're gonna spend a minute in this little... This is a valley with the river running through it. This is definitely a valley. Oh, my tea is probably a good temperature. That feels a little hot. Let's try it. Ooh, it's a touch toasty for me. I'll be back for you in a minute. Hello. What's your name? Stretch. Stretch the commodities merchant. So, commodities merchants, if we were playing a malefactor, this would be a pretty cool discovery for a malefactor, because malefactors have the unique ability that when they break open a cracked vessel, there is a chance they don't break open the cracked vessel and instead get the vessel whole. And vessels can be sold to commodities merchants for pretty good gear returns. But we, unfortunately, are not a malefactor. We have none of these goodies. And what could we buy? Blasting power, potash. All right. Oh, that's the K one. I will be keeping you in mind. Alum. Okay. Alum is used for mordant. Mordant allows you to use more colors of dye, because dyeing is weird science, essentially. And mordant kind of gives the dye something to bind to. It gives it a better grip on the fabric or whatever material you happen to be dyeing. That's how it works in the real world. Without mordant in Vintage Story, you can only dye blue and brown. Still pretty decent colors, like they're nice shades, I have to say. So if you don't have access to a commodities merchant with alum or some other means of producing mordant, which can also be chromite or cassiterite, which is tin, actually, which you need to crush. I believe that's, yes, that is the pulverizer. So that is a ways off for us in terms of the technology tier. But eventually, I do want to get into dyeing things, so we'll be exploring the whole mordant and the dyeing system. But for right now, this is meaningless to us. Ooh, he also sells halite, which is salt. Halite is a pain to find because, oh, we don't have our pro pick. The prospecting pick, when it's in, oh, thank you, by the way, Stretch. We will be back at some point for sure. What in the world was I saying? Oh yes, the pro pick cannot search for salt, unfortunately. It would be wonderful if it did. But even in that long-range search that reports the whole chunk, it won't tell you if there's halite in that chunk, which makes halite pretty difficult to find. There are things you can do. Ooh. That's a crazy cave. And what is that? I want to make some... Hello, dear. I want to make some ladders. Because I want to see what that ore is. It is already 1900. Don't love that. Oh, wow. That is not even close. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, what are these? Bismuth. More bismuth. And bountiful again. Nice. Do I have a pickaxe? No, and I don't have room anyway. But now we know it's here, and that's good enough for me. Ah, got it. I'm gonna aim to go through here. This looks like a mountain pass of sorts. And it is getting dark now. Oh, look, there was a ruin here. Is there a vessel? Ah, there's an underground. Some bony soil. There is a vessel. What are you? Forage. Right now, I don't care. I am much more interested in what's down there. Okay, we don't have inventory space for this right now. So I'm going to mark this as an unexplored ruin. Because we will definitely be coming back here. Ooh, there's another one. Food vessel. Okay. I think food vessels can contain seeds, or maybe that's only agriculture. But either way, those are kind of exciting. Oh, this is a cliff. I thought that was not going to be a sheer cliff. Okay. So I'm actually going to head back over to Stretch and see if we can spend the night. I want to say we had a bed, but I could be wrong. And with the torch in my hand, I keep thinking that there's little brown splotches on these basalt stones. I'm getting real excited that it might be tin. Hello again, Stretch. Let's spend the night. This is our new spawn point, by the way. Well, thank you, Stretch. Well, let's get headed back home and do something about this mess of an inventory that we've got now. Man, this game is pretty. Well, on our way home, I decided to poke my head into a cave, and look at what I just found. This is our first subterranean ruin, I believe, and an aged torch holder. So torch holders allow you to place a torch in them, and they never burn out. It's excellent for the early game. And what do we have here? Some clothes, a copper spear. I will replace one of our spears with that. Which one has the lowest durability? They're the same. Replace that one. Aged short bed. Wait, I think I might be able to pick this one up. It did drop the bed. Hold on, I need space then. These bones can go. I have plenty of bones at home. Is there anything else of note in here? Yeah, I don't think there is. Just tattered linen shirt and wool-lined knee-high boots. Which these might actually be useful once you repair them, but for right now, we've got better things to spend our limited inventory space on. Gonna keep going into this cave. See if there's nothing on this side. Okay. Subterranean ruins are a great source of cool and unique loot. Relatively unique anyway. I'm surprised we haven't found more yet, but at least we found one. And look at this. We got another, and let's just take a really quick look, see if there's anything of note. Ooh, 2 rusty gears. Take both of those. Some tables, but I don't have any space for them. And another bed. We only need the one, though. Tables honestly aren't that hard to make. Gonna move on. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Not dealing with locusts. There's home, and our oak has come in. Well, that's exciting. That's actually going to be the first thing we do once we clear out a little bit of space in our inventory, because I want to get the next ones planted. Oh no, did all of our torches burn out? Yes, it has been too long. We've been away from home for a while now. There we go. Oh. It's not usable. Alright then. Can I put my actual bed on top of it? That would be really funny. I can't. There we go, I have a bunk bed for one. Yeah, we're gonna keep that, at least for a little bit, because that's funny. Alright, our inventory is kind of usable, at least for the moment. We'll figure it out. But this oak tree, we need to get seeds out of it. In the interest of getting seeds, I'm going to break all of the branches to maximize our chances here, because we need to be able to propagate these. They are not plentiful enough for us to rely on just going out and getting oak logs, so we need to grow them ourselves. And while we're doing this, I wanted to thank everyone that supports the channel through views, comments, channel memberships, and especially my supporters on Patreon, which I'll overlay on screen now. Financial support is never required, but always appreciated. Thank you. There we are. We got 4 seeds out of that because we already had 1. 4 seeds is pretty good. Only 5 logs, but we can make do. We now have 9 logs, so that can get us something. A little bit of something. Let's see, that would be not very much. So 30 liters of weak tannin and 30 liters of strong tannin we'd be able to make. It's something. It would get us started. Now, I don't actually want to plant an oak in here. I'd like to have an overhang here, and I think the oak would intersect with it, so that would be very inefficient in terms of how many seeds we get out of the oak. So I'm going to plant these way out here somewhere away from the other saplings I've placed. Doesn't have to be crazy far, but enough that they have room to grow their branches. Another nice thing about torch holders is that they offer protection from the rain. So even though this is out in the open without a little overhang over it, that will stay lit when it rains. I'm going to grab our crucible, and I'm going to grab 180 copper. We should probably make some, right? Probably make some more ingots. What else are we going to do with this, right? Actually, never mind. Because we can turn a ton of this into bronze, which is definitely worth doing. We'll be able to work it on a copper anvil, which when we make the anvil, I'll go over in more detail. Well, when we start using the anvil, rather. There's our crucible. There it is. Put this in the fire pit with our copper. Some firewood to get it started. And, we still have our charcoal on us. Very good. Let's take a look at our farm. Turnips are coming in nicely. Grain is all taking a while, as it usually does. Parsnips about halfway done. And these are our recent plantings, so that makes sense that they're quite a bit smaller. But it looks like everything is coming in pretty well. I don't see any damage on these crops, which isn't too surprising. So next month is August, and it should get pretty toasty. We might end up getting a little bit of heat damage on some of these. I'm not sure on that, though. I'd have to check our crops, which we might do in the future. But crops can be damaged by heat and cold, and it reduces how much you get when you harvest them. So you do want to stay on top of your harvesting, rather than just let things sit in the farm forever. Oh, that's hot enough. Stick some charcoal in there. I'm going to start with 4 pieces of charcoal, since we're now doing 900 units of copper instead of, was it 80 units of copper before? This is going to take quite a bit longer to heat up. And this is nowhere near done. Let's put some more copper in there. Since it's about halfway done, I'm going to put another 4 pieces in. And I think that should more or less do it. Hopefully. We'll be checking back, of course. So we have a bunch of basalt stones now, which with clay, let me go get our clay, we can turn stones into cobblestone at a much worse conversion rate than I realized. Oh no. Excellent. Well, we have 20 pieces of cobblestone, and we will definitely be using a lot of them. I'd like to, well, we'll be using more than just 20. I'd like to start replacing some of our rammed earth, at least in our more permanent structures. Things like this will probably stay. Well, no, we'll be turning this fence into a wall at some point, once we have the resources to do so. Maybe that'll become rammed earth once we replace some of it with cobblestone. That would work, right? Ideas. But I'd like to replace these kind of permanent structures with, well, permanent blocks, basically. It just looks a little bit nicer, even though these are really dark. I mean, that is quite dark, I will be among the first to admit. But I think with some of the other blocks that I'm planning on building out of, these will end up looking really nice. It'll be a good sharp contrast, and then with a red clay roof, that'll be a bright pop of color. I think it'll look really nice. Oh, and this is done. I need... there it is. Grab you. Let's go put it in. There we are, 900 units of liquid copper in our anvil mold. And that is going to take a while to cool down. We go hang up our tongs. And I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to be for this copper anvil to cool down, but I do know that we'll be waiting until next episode to put it to use, because I've recorded more than enough footage for this episode, and I'm not going to be making that mistake again. So, thank you very much for joining. I hope to see you on the next one, and as always, have a great one.